Let's stop lying to men. Let's cut through the noise, the fantasy, the blue pill narrative they've been feeding you since you were a boy. You've been told to be a provider, a protector, a good man. You've been told that if you build a life, she will come, and together you will build a home. That's the lie. The modern woman doesn't dream of a home, she dreams of a sponsor. She isn't looking for a life partner, she's interviewing for a venture capitalist to fund her most lucrative startup, single motherhood. She's not looking for a husband to build a legacy with. She's looking for a man who gives her a baby and a blank check. A man with a good job, a solid income, and a naive belief in happily ever after. She needs you for the insemination, not the institution of marriage. She needs a partner for childbirth, not for child raising. She'll play the part, of course. She'll be agreeable, she'll be feminine, she'll talk about your future together, your family, your dreams. But it's a performance, gentlemen, a carefully crafted audition for the role of your child's mother. And when the baby comes, when the ink is dry on the birth certificate and your name is on the line, that's when the mask comes off, love expires, submission vanishes, and her true goal begins, funding her independence. Your reward for your dedication, your provision, your love, a court summons and a child support order. You weren't building a family, you were financing your own obsolescence. Let's break it down. You thought you were building a dynasty, a legacy for your children, a partnership rooted in mutual respect and shared goals. You were mistaken. You weren't her king, you were her 401k. Every conversation about the future, every tour of a new house in a good school district, every I love you was just a step in her financial planning. She wasn't assessing you as a husband or a father, she was auditing your assets. She saw your income, your potential, and calculated the payout. The family wasn't the goal, it was the vehicle for the transaction. She knows something you don't. She knows the system is designed in her favor. She knows that having your child is the single greatest financial instrument available to her. It's better than stocks, better than real estate because it comes with a court-enforced guarantee. Child support, alimony, half of the assets you worked your entire life to build. That's not a failed marriage, gentlemen. That's a successful business acquisition. She wasn't planning for a family. She was planning for a state-sanctioned retirement funded by you. The baby wasn't the beginning of your family, it was the beginning of her payout. So when she talked about wanting a family, what she really meant was that she wanted the financial security that comes with being the mother of a high-earning man's child. She wasn't in love with you, she was in love with your lifestyle and the legal mechanisms that would allow her to claim it as her own. The tender moments, the promises, the shared dreams, it was all due diligence. She was an investor, and you, your income, and your future were the asset she was acquiring. She secured the bag, and you were left holding it. Let's talk facts, not feelings. The data doesn't lie. Over 80% of divorces in the United States are initiated by women. Let that sink in. 8 out of 10 times, she is the one who decides the family is over. She is the one who files the papers. She is the one who walks away. But does she walk away from the benefits? Does she walk away from the lifestyle you provided? Absolutely not. The love may be gone, the commitment may have evaporated, but her hand remains firmly in your pocket, sanctioned by the state. The modern woman's mantra is provision, not partnership. When the relationship serves her, when you are providing the sperm, the stability, and the social status of being married, she is content. But the moment the child is born, the calculus changes. She has secured the primary asset. Now, the partnership is a liability to her independence. Why share a roof when she can get a house of her own, paid for by you? Why answer to a husband when she can be a strong, independent mother subsidized by your labor? The divorce isn't a tragedy for her, it's a promotion. You are left with the ghost of a family and the very real, legally binding bills. The mortgage on a house you no longer live in, the child support payments that fund a life you have no say in, the alimony that rewards her for abandoning the covenant you both made, the love, the submission, the respect, all of that was conditional. It was a temporary front for a permanent financial arrangement. She didn't want a husband for life. She wanted an ATM with a lifetime guarantee. The love was a lease, but the debt is a mortgage. You walk into that courtroom believing in fairness, in justice, in the idea that a judge will look at the facts and make a reasonable decision. You believe that your hard work, your dedication as a father, and your contributions to the family will matter. What a fool's errand. The family court system is not a court of justice, it's a processing plant. It's a wealth transfer mechanism designed to move resources from men to women, and it operates with ruthless efficiency. You are not a litigant, you are a line item on a balance sheet. She knows this. Her attorney knows this. They walk in armed with a playbook that has been perfected over decades. All it takes is an allegation. He's unstable, he has an anger problem, he's controlling. These words, spoken in the right tone to the right judge, are more powerful than any evidence you can provide. Your character is assassinated, your role as a father is diminished, and suddenly, you're not fighting for your family anymore. You're fighting against a restraining order and a supervised visitation schedule, all while being ordered to pay for the very home you've been kicked out of. This is the jackpot. It's the moment she cashes in her chips. The court becomes her business partner, enforcing the terms of her exit. They don't see a father trying to stay in his child's life. They see a source of revenue. They see your salary, your assets, your future earnings, and they calculate her share. Justice is blind, they say. In family court, it's blind to the man's plight, but has a laser focus on his wallet. It's not about what's fair, it's about what's profitable for the system and for her. You entered seeking justice and left with a judgment. You think this is about the child? You think her fight for full custody is about maternal instinct and the child's best interest? You need to wake up. The child is not a life to be nurtured, the child is a weapon to be wielded. The child is the ultimate leverage. Every decision, every tearful claim about what's best for the baby, is a calculated move on a chessboard where you have already been placed in checkmate. She's not raising a child, she's cultivating an asset that guarantees her power over you for the next 18 years. Custody is the cornerstone of her strategy. With it, she controls not just the child, but you. She controls your access, turning your time with your own son or daughter into a privilege she can grant or revoke at her whim. She controls the narrative, painting you as the absent father or the weekend dad, while she collects accolades for being a single mom doing it all on her own. And by on her own, she means with your money, of course. She outsources the actual parenting to daycare, to school, to her mother, while she enjoys the freedom your checks provide. She will use the child to manipulate you emotionally and financially. Want to see your kid on their birthday? Yeah, it will cost you. Extra money for a trip she wants to take. Disagree with her on a parenting decision? Suddenly your visitation is in jeopardy, and she's threatening to call her lawyer. The child becomes a human shield and a bargaining chip. She will poison your child against you, slowly, methodically, ensuring her version of the story is the only one they ever hear. It's not parenting, it's a long-term campaign of psychological and financial warfare, and the child is the primary casualty. The entire relationship, from the first date to the birth of your child, needs to be reframed. You weren't her partner in a romance, you were her co-founder in a startup where she was always the majority shareholder with a planned exit. She was never building with you for the long haul, she was building to a specific point, the point of maximum valuation. The moment the child was born, her company reached its peak value. That's when she initiated the buyout. Your buyout. Think of it in business terms because that's how she does. The dating phase was the market research. The marriage was the initial investment round, securing your commitment and resources. The pregnancy was the product development phase. And the birth, that was the IPO. The moment the child became a legal entity with your name attached, she was ready to cash out. She dissolves the partnership, the marriage, but keeps the most valuable asset, the child, which she now holds as equity. This equity pays dividends for 18 years or more. It gives her the house, the monthly income, and the social status of a victimized single mother. Your entire life together was her exit strategy. She was waiting for the opportune moment to liquidate the assets, your assets, and start her new life, funded by the old one. You thought you were building a future. She was just building her severance package. You weren't a husband, you were the seed money for her independence. Before the child, she needed you. She needed your strength, your protection, your resources. She played the part of the feminine, supportive partner because her strategy depended on it. She was agreeable, she was submissive, she admired your ambition. She made you feel like a king in your own home because she needed you to build the kingdom she planned to seize. This cooperative spirit, this supposed submission, was nothing more than a temporary tactic to secure your genetic and financial investment. The moment the baby arrives, the dynamic shifts seismically. Her need for your masculine strength is replaced by her leverage of your paternal obligation. She no longer needs to be agreeable because the court will now force you to agree. She no longer needs your protection because she can use the child and the legal system as her shield and sword. The woman who once looked to you for leadership now looks to the state for enforcement. Her goal was never to build a life under your guidance. It was to use your guidance to build a platform from which she could launch her independent existence. Suddenly, every decision you make is wrong. Your parenting style is criticized. Your opinions are dismissed. You are no longer the head of the household. You are an obstacle to be managed or preferably removed. The public shaming begins. You're portrayed as unsupportive, controlling, or incompetent. This isn't a natural evolution of a relationship, it's a strategic pivot. The submission was a means to an end. The end was the child. And with the child secured, the performance is over. The queen no longer needs the king, just his treasury. You will hear the phrase "for the good of the child" so many times it will lose all meaning. It will be the justification for every demand, every restriction, every financial extraction. She will weaponize society's natural impulse to protect children to disguise her ruthless pursuit of personal gain. But you must see through the facade. If her actions were truly for the child's benefit, would she be systematically removing a loving, capable father from their life? Would she be creating a broken home? Of course not. A woman who genuinely cares about her child's well-being understands that a child needs a father. They need his presence, his guidance, his love. But the modern woman who is executing this strategy prioritizes her own control over the child's needs. She would rather have full control and a monthly check than a co-parent and a complete family. She deprives the child of a father to ensure she maintains absolute authority and financial leverage over the man. The child's emotional and psychological health is acceptable collateral damage in her war for independence and control. So when she says it's about the child, understand what she really means. It's about using the child to control you, controlling your time, your money, and your future. It's about ensuring she is the sole gatekeeper to the most important person in your life. It's not about legacy, it's about leverage. It's not about family, it's about finance. It's not about raising a healthy child, it's about cashing in on a winning lottery ticket. The child is simply the key that unlocks the vault. So let's have the final word. Stop confusing family with finance. You have been conditioned to see marriage and children through the lens of love, legacy, and lifelong partnership. But you are dealing with a generation of women who have been taught to see it as a financial transaction, an exit strategy, a business plan. They have been taught by the culture and empowered by the courts that a child is not the fruit of a union, but a tool for personal enrichment. A woman who loves family doesn't break it, she builds it, she nurtures it, she understands that a father's presence is more valuable than a child support check. She sees a husband as a partner, not a provisional resource to be drained and discarded. A woman who values covenant doesn't run to a lawyer the moment things get difficult. She runs to her husband. But if all she ever wanted was a child, not a covenant, you were never her husband. You were her funding plan. You were the means to an end, and that end was a life of subsidized independence. So, be wise, be vigilant, protect your assets, protect your peace, and protect your legacy. Because the hard truth is that many modern women don't want fathers for their kids. They just want someone to foot the bill. They want the baby, but they want you to pay for the babysitter. Don't be the cautionary tale. Don't be the man who built a beautiful house only to have the keys handed to someone else while you're left paying the mortgage. Know the game, or you will surely become its next victim.